It's the preview that absolutely no one has asked for, mate. It is the Polo Punt Club preview of Golden Slipper Day at Rosehill. We're going to do it anyway, even though at the moment it's a genuine 50-50 of even happening.
Yeah, well, we've put all this effort into preparing for the podcast, mate. We might as well talk absolute shit for about 45 minutes. So
if 45,
maybe an hour and a half.
I think we'll be needing the full hour this time.
Yeah,
just
I think
as a
so.
Disclaimer. But enough of that. Look, obviously the weather, we have no idea what it's going to be like, but let's hope we're actually playing on, a heavy 8, heavy 9, just so the races are on, because we're going away for the weekend. We don't want to be punting our asses off at Mornington.
Do you know if Noah's Ark was big enough to fit the entire of Rosehill in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
Yeah. It'd still be a heavy 10 even on the Ark, but
yeah.
Well.
You know who'd love that?
Jungle Edge. Mate, he's not on the Ark. He's in the ocean still swimming.
Yeah.
Noah goes to bring him on.
He's a seahorse.
Yeah, God's like, he doesn't need to come on.
Nah.
He'll be right.
Yeah. Got his snorkel on. He's ready to go.
Snorkel and flippers.
Wouldn't that be ironic if the races get called off because it's too wet and Jungle Edge is just there in his box and you're like, you're kidding.
Oh, that would be funny.
That's funny. Okay. No horses to follow this week because we got too much to get through.
There's way too much on.
Straight into the polos. And you know what? Quick recap. Let's go.
Quick recap.
On what the polos are.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Jeez. So, look, Polo Punt Club, we're named after polos. We think there's some polos that are just better than others. We think navy polos are the best. Grey polos are great. You've got your white and black polos, which are pretty good. And then the worst polo of them all is the purple. Orange is also pretty terrible, but purple polo is the worst.
Yep.
Every Derby Day, as a punting club, the person who has the worst day on the punt gets awarded the purple polo. I'm the current holder of the purple polo. So
stinker on Derby Day.
Big stinker. So each week we give away a polo, a good one, a middle tier one, and a bad one, the purple polo. So,
and you've got the honours this week, so who's wearing a navy?
I reckon I'm just going to give the navy polo to the All-Star Mile as an event. I think it was excellent as a spectacle. Has a real sort of like a state of origin type feel about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's a great comparison.
Yeah. The hype, the build-up, the fan involvement. It's good. And the race itself was absolutely cracking. Mugger 2, perfectly ridden. I thought he was in a lot of trouble there.
Same. I was financially invested and I thought I was in real strife.
Yeah. So that's a great punt by you, mate. Hell of a ride by Hugh. Unfortunately, and we'll get to this, the horse I punted on will be running no more, but we'll talk about that in a bit. White polo, got to go to Crone.
Yes.
Cool. Doing it for the Queenslanders. Tony Garland.
Stiff. Roll the Dice Syndicate, their first Group 1 winner as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Hell of a run.
Mare's in form.
Yeah.
Just got to stick with them.
You really do. I think she was in both our numbers, but we didn't have her on top.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah. Yep. And well done to the punters that had her. She was about $15 or $16, I think. Sammy Sheehan did?
Yeah.
Bang.
He tipped her on top, so shout out Sammy, well done.
Yeah, well done, She-Boss. Queensland's first Group 1 win in other states since Alligator Blood.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even give that a consideration. Yeah.
It's been a while, so well done, Crone. Nice crisp white polo. Look, purple polo, I wrote this last night, and things have changed since then, but...
about an hour ago.
Yeah, about an hour ago. But I had Mother Nature with the purple polo.
Yep.
Mostly because we expected Rosehill to be a nice soft 7 or a soft 8 the other week and end up being like a good 4. And that screwed over a lot of my tips.
Yeah. None of them could win.
And then Moonee Valley was a good and then gets eventually, by the time the All-Star Mile goes round, surely heavy 8.
So it was a good 4, upgraded to good 3. By the time the All-Star Mile ran around, it was rated a soft 7, but the jock said it was a heavy 8, heavy 9.
Yeah, it looked like it.
Like, Probabil doesn't run that bad unless it's a super, super heavy gate.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, and this weekend incoming might not even run because of Mother Nature.
Honestly.
Imagine that.
I can't believe it. We're going to be at the best punting venue on earth, the Noosa Surf Club. So if you're around, come say g'day. We'll be in the tab. But you know what? It has a bit of 2017 feel about it. With She Will Reign, Winks, Russian Revolution, Red Zell, all on a heavy 10. It could be a similar day. So if that's the case, I'm stoked because I had a belter.
You did, yeah. You did. I think hieroglyphics ran that day as well.
He's the perpetual wearer of the purple polo for our punt club.
Constantly.
As a horse.
Yeah, constantly.
Yeah. Best bet of the day, we said. And he ran a distant last for everybody.
pulled up. So, yeah, look, if it gets canned, my disappointment will be insurmountable.
Yeah.
I'll be very disappointed.
Yep.
And obviously, you let me know about an hour ago that one of my favourite horses, Russian Camelot, injured his tendon in the All-Star Mile, so he's been retired, unfortunately.
Yes. Devastating. I guess shout out to Farnan. Look, not one of mine, but, you know, he was a talent, but he also got retired. And just seems far too many of them either get injured and have to be retired, or something goes wrong or nothing's wrong and they just retire them anyway.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
It is frustrating. Look, I feel for all the connections of Russian Camelot. I backed him pretty much every start last prep except for the Cup, but he's the sort of horse where I think he could have gone on to win a Caulfield Cup or potentially even a Melbourne Cup as he got a bit older. So young. So unfortunate news, but it's the game we play, mate.
It is the risk you run. And look, being a son of Camelot, he's going to make a shitload of money at stud. So, look, bad day for punters, but a great day for the owners. Okay, let's stop mucking around. Look, we'll have to caveat for all of this. A lot of the horses that we tip on top or in our selections or in general might not be running this weekend. So we're going to do our best based on the tips that we put out, but look, we might change it throughout the day based on conditions, but I've done it on a heavy 10. I'm sure you have too. So Anyway, let's cross our fingers, hope for the best and see where it gets us. Rambit Stakes, first Group 1 of the day, race 4 on the card, 2,000 metre, weight for age. Previous winners have been Grandad Chop, good to hear. Avilius a couple years ago, and Adaib last year. His 2 runs in Sydney last year were unbelievable. First run in 1903. 12 of the last 15 winners have finished either first or second in their lead-up run. So, yeah, you want something that's been right around the money. Look, it's a race in 2, isn't it?
Yeah, you'd like to think so.
Yeah, very elegant versus Adaib. I did hear that Willie Haggis and Aussie Tom Marquand were saying that he's pretty much identical going into this race this year compared to last year, but their opinion is that he shouldn't have won this race last year. He just exceeded their expectations. So they have the same expectations that they had last year. Basically, want him to just stretch the legs out, see how he goes, but they're not really hoping that he wins. The grand final's the Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I think it's a 2-horse race, Adaib and VE. For mine, I think, although VE has a stellar record on a heavy track, I think she'd actually probably prefer it to be drier against Adaib because she might get the edge over Adaib if it's a bit drier. I think if we are playing on a heavy 10, I'd rather be with Adaib. And he's not going to get challenged too much up front to lead. Don't know how J-Mac's going to ride VE. Probably just behind him, I'd say, and fight it out at the end.
One off the fence. She's horrific when she's on the fence, so he'll get it in the second lane there and basically just follow him home wherever they go. He'll be close enough to basically have him in her sights, and I've got VE on top just because I think she is an elite wet track horse and she's going way better this autumn than she was last year, and she was still running out of her skin. she's gone to another level. I can't seem to catch her whenever I tip her on top, but that's okay. So I've got VE on top of Adabe. Clearly, they're the two best horses in this race by a mile. And Master of Wine is a good wet tracker as well. Wayne Hawkes, look, he talks up every horse in his stable. But, he's pretty bullish about him as well. So I can see him running into third.
Yeah, I've got Adabe on top. I just think he's a bit too elite for very elegant over this distance and on a heavy track. But I think it'll be a coin flip. So happy to see VE win as well. She's one of my favourites. So yeah, Adabe, VE, and I don't even bother with the trifecta, mate, because it's a Quinella race.
It's a 5-horse race. So, maybe it's the way that Prince Farwas, he can stick his little head up,
Yeah.
But
Natoya?
Yeah, no thanks. Look, yeah. 5-horse race, it's just a match race, surely.
Interestingly, know one of the owners of VE, and they reckon that if she loses this, she's not going to run in the Queen Elizabeth because she doesn't want to take on Adabe again.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. There you go. Inside word. You heard it here first. So the next Group 1 on the card is the Rosehill Guineas, 2,000 metres, set weights, previous winners. Ginger Nuts, remember him?
I do remember Ginger Nuts, yeah.
D'Argento, the grey for Chris Waller. Tass, the Autumn Sun.
One of the goats.
And last year was won by Castelvecchio, but that was one of the rides at the Autumn by Craig
Phenomenal.
Williams. First run, 1910. And 5 of the last 11 runners have come off a last win start. And single figure odds have dominated the winners list over the last 2 decades. So I think it's only 1 or 2 horses outside of $10 have won.
Okay.
So favourites or thereabouts have been very close to the mark. I've found, I think, the top 3 in the market in this race as well. We have to start with the big boy, don't we?
Yeah, Lions Roar. Great friend of the podcast, isn't he?
He's fantastic. So,
yeah.
Look, Brendan Abdullah, Johnny O'Shea, he said on radio this morning that if it is an absolutely bottomless track, he won't be running Lions Roar, which is, look, it's a hit because I've got a futures market ticket for $29, which, I would at least love to get a run for my money. So I'm praying that the rain stays away. But there is an elite wet track horse in this race, and that is Montefilia. She looks incredibly hard to beat in this from wine. Jason Klett in the saddle. She, in the autumn last year, or maybe it was even the back end of autumn, she was winning on heavy 10s, and they were like, no concern about the heavy tracks. It's just how she goes on good tracks. Last start, she beat home Hungry Heart, who's then won whatever the race that was last weekend. So, yeah, I think she's riding the game here, Montefilia. And the wet track form has steered me in her direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, if Lions Roar, I've got Lions Roar on top. If he doesn't run, I'll have to reassess. I probably will toss up between Montefilia and Mwanga. Query for Mwanga is he hasn't raced on a heavy before.
His first ever run was at the Gold Coast.
Oh, yeah. My apologies.
But that was his first ever run, and you just don't know who was versing there at the Gold Coast on a Wednesday. Like, you just don't know. Different gravy here, whereas Montefilia's proven it against better quality fillies against her own age. So, Montefilia for mine. Mwanga's draw is horrific again. It could just be a tale of the exact same.
It could be. One other horse that I was sort of looking at was the meme horse, number 8 Skylab. Didn't run super well last run. He was 4th out of 10. Prior to that, he was winning on soft and heavy tracks. He draws pretty well here, and he's got Damien Lane in the saddle, which is obviously a tick. I think he'll run a pretty decent race for $14. look, if Lions Raw runs, I'll have him on top, and then I'll be between Mo'unga and Montefilia for mine. If he doesn't, but might have a throw at the stumps at Skylab.
Look, my heart says Lions Raw, and my wallet says that too, but I do think Montefilia is going to get absolutely truckloaded on the day. I reckon she'll start favourite. Probably not with Mo'unga, but she'll start second favourite. I'm keen to take on Mo'unga. So I do have Monty on top, Lions Raw second, and I do think, look, of the rest, you have Mo'unga is probably the next, but maybe Quay.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe Quay. Yeah.
He can run out further than 2,000, but yeah, I don't know. It's not really a race that I'm that interested to play in.
Neither. Yeah, I won't be playing big in that race. It's going to be a watch and see for me.
Cool. Alrighty, so the George Ryder is next, a 1,500 metre weight for age. Last 5 winners of this race. Winks 4 times. And Dreamforce.
How you doing, Winks?
She's a good girl, isn't she? So since 1999, there's only been one winner who's come off a lead-up run worse than 4th and won the race. So you need to be in the top 4 in your last run to have a chance of winning this race. And there's only been one winner from a double-digit barrier since the year 2000. So, which, there's only 2 of them in the race anyway. So you can put a line through Dawn Passage and Dalasan if that's the case. But interesting race, this one. I found it a little bit difficult.
I think it's a bit stinky, to be honest.
Yeah?
It's a stinky race.
It is. You have Avilius at $5. Oh,
yeah, I feel for Arcadia Queen in this because she's not getting a dry track.
No.
She gets scratched from the All-Star Mile, and you'd think just give her a nice, good track so she can just storm home.
What's wrong with Mornington? Honestly,
send her there.
Imagine if she went around at Mornington. She'd be the best horse to ever go around there. Surely,
yeah. We'd have to make the trip down.
Yeah.
So I feel for Arcadia Queen here. Obviously, the first thing I'm looking at in pretty much all of these races is who's got a pair of flippers and a snorkel.
Yep.
And for mine, Funstar's got a pair of flippers and a snorkel. Junipal has got a pair of flippers and a snorkel. Slippers. Hopefully he's awake before the race. And Avilius does. Yeah. I'm not super keen on Avilius.
He ran super last start.
He did.
But he needed every metre of the 1,600 and he's dropping back 100 metres in.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
And when was the last time he won? 3 years ago?
77 weeks ago. His last 12 months, he's had 9 starts for a second and 3/3.
Right.
So, but he has been racing at the absolute elite level pretty much every start.
He has, yeah. Look, I think by the time we get to this race, if we are racing at all, race 6, the inside is just going to be so chopped up next to the rails. I'd probably prefer to pull a barrier a bit wider. So you've got, Funstar and Junipal who've drawn a bit wider. Samadoubt, Dreamforce going forwards. They're going to stalk just off the pace, be in the more favourable area of the track and should get a run for their money. Now, between the two of them, last time Funstar was on a genuine heavy deck was the Golden Eagle. And she failed.
Yep.
So that's a query for mine. I know she's got elite form on a heavy track earlier on in her career.
But you look at the far lap, which she'd won by 1.5 lengths, Probably ran into second there. So that is a query on that heavy 9 track.
Yeah, because Probable can't run on a heavy.
No.
So, you know how I feel about backing horses first up. But Junipal's got a pretty good profile first up. Pretty good profile on soft and heavy decks. At the distance, it's 1 from 1. Hasn't raced at the track before, so that's a query. But I reckon it'll launch out of that gate, barrier 9, stalk the leaders. Might just fight out the finish. $21 at the moment. I'll find out at that price.
Yeah. No, I found Junipal in my numbers as well. I landed on Funstar, which I can't believe. It's just that type of race.
It is,
and
yes.
You know what else I came back to is she's third up here. She's actually been far more genuine this prep.
She just missed out in the Chipping Norton by like a half a length, and that's fourth.
Yeah, and that's behind Very Elegant, Colette, and Avilius. I think she can... 1,500 metres does suit here. The genuine heavy track is a real concern. So fingers crossed it's not that, but she's my on-top selection. Third up last prep, she ran second in the Epsom, and she was an unbelievable run there. So I think she peaks here. That was probably run of her career.
Yeah.
So
we just found one better, didn't we?
Yeah. And look, I think if Chris Waller will only run her if she's okay to handle the conditions, I think.
The trainers know them a lot better than we bloody do.
Yeah, so I found Funstar on top. I found Dawn Passage into second because of that run in the Golden Eagle. He proved to me that he actually can handle a heavy. But he ran, a super third that day by about a length. Bit of an average run first up, but... second up, he can improve. And then, I had Juniper running third just for those bit of an X factor.
Yeah, cool. I've got Juniper on top. I've got Funstar in my numbers. And I think the class of Arcadia Queen is just too good for these. I wouldn't be surprised if she just runs into the money, mate.
Yeah.
Like, there's a story behind her that she doesn't like a soft deck or a heavy deck. She's only got 3 starts on a soft deck for a third. Who knows? But they won't run her if they don't think she can handle it.
She nearly fell over in the Cox Plate and she ran 5th.
Yeah.
Like she ran a super race. She finished beside Mugatoo and then Mugatu's come out and won the All-Star Miles. So, definitely make a case for her. I'm keen to take her on, have to take on something. Okay. Here we go. The feature of the day, the Golden Slipper. So... look, we glossed over who we have in front of us here, but you have VE in front of you, even though you're not tipping her.
Yeah, sorry, babe.
So, she's a Rosehill specialist, wet track specialist, but I've got She Will Reign in front of me. So, she's just a good girl for Gary Portelli. Cost 20 grand. Took out the feature race of the day, and that race... is hilarious because you watch the replay. She's the only one that went on the rail. Everything else was trying to find ground. It was genuinely like a dartboard. There was just horses everywhere. But she's a genuine swimmer. She came out and she won a Group 1 after that. Can't say that about many Golden Slipper winners at all. So she's probably the best Golden Slipper winner of probably since Sepoy. Yeah. So... before we get into the race, how I dissected this was basically pure and simple looking at the speed map. I went back and I looked at the last 10 or so Golden Slippers, and there was one horse, one winner that came from back in the field. The rest of them finished in the top 5 or 6 in the running. On a heavy track, I think that's just going to be even more emphasised.
Agreed.
So I'm just purely looking for horses that are in front of the field, which if you have a look at my speed map, I think Profiteer, absolute no-brainer that he goes forward. Home Affairs, Stay in Sight can take a sit behind them. President as well, and probably 4 moves ahead. They're the 5 that I've identified going forward. But how did you see the race unfolding?
Yeah, exactly. I echo your thoughts, mate, there. I think you want something that's leading or on pace. And in a race like this on a heavy track with the 2-year-olds, you just want to find a good seat. And the barriers are more important in the Golden Slipper than most other Group 1s. So, and like I was saying in the previous race, you want something that's probably drawn a little bit wider on this choppy deck. So there's a horse that I spoke about on the podcast a few weeks ago now when she won the Sweet Embrace. Johnny Sargent's horse, 4 moves ahead.
His first ever runner in a Golden Slipper.
Yeah. He's had a lot of good 2-year-olds in New Zealand. obviously the 2-year-olds in New Zealand are different to what they are here. We've got the best in the world, right? But he said this is the best 2-year-old he's ever had by far. I really liked that race where she won because she absorbed a lot of pressure early, but she looked relaxed and she still held her pace and finished strongly. Leading up to that, she had a cold, she had a bruised knee, so she was actually out for a while. She's trialled a ton in between both of her runs and she won pretty much all of them. She's won on a heavy deck before, she's won at 1,200 metres before, launches out of gate 10 here, which I think is the more favourable ground.
She's been smashed in the betting.
Smashed in. I got her at 9s. She's 6s now. I really like her in this race. I like those silks. I like fillies. So I think she's going to sit just off the leaders and come home really strong. I'm happy to risk, and you might raise your eyebrows at this, and I might look like an absolute goose on the weekend, but I'm happy to risk Profiteer and stay inside. They're not even in my numbers.
Yeah.
Just because stay inside in the Todman, he didn't get clear until like the last, 200 or 250 or something like that. And everyone's saying, but he charged through the line once he did get clear. Didn't really charge through the line that much. Animo charged through the bloody line. And Profiteer, loads of talent. I'm just worried where he's going to behave in the race. So I'm happy to take both of them on. I really like 4 Moves Ahead. I really like Home Affairs. J-Mac on the back, big tick. Barry is a query for mine, but I think he'll get into a good position. And I think Animo will storm home. That Blue Diamond form is holding up pretty well. I catered one on the weekend. Yeah, so hopefully 4 Moves Ahead brings a flippers, brings a snorkel. Yeah, I really like her in this race.
You know what I've just seen, which I cannot believe? You're getting a better price for Animo than you are Ingratiating. What?
Are you really?
Yeah, maybe it's the backup for Ingratiating again, because he backed up into the Blue Diamond and he ran second there, but surely Animo has... I'd be marking him closer to favourite over those two. I'm taking on Profiteer as well. He's been doing it pretty much out by himself in front, and look, he might very well do that again. And of course. He could make us both look like a goose, but he's run on a soft 5, the worst track that he's raced on. So I'll have to take something on in the race. He's the one I'm taking on. Surely Hugh can't have 2 massive paydays in the space of a week. So I'm sticking with stay inside. I had to find something to give him an excuse last start, and I found the barrier. He drew the outside of that small field, but he was cast back. Bossy just put him in a pocket. Great ride from him just to put him in a pocket. He was basically sustained. He had no momentum for about 100 or 150 metres or so. So that basically just cast his chances of winning the race. His previous 2 runs to that drew barrier 5 and barrier 5. So in fields of 12 and 11. He's raced on soft 7, which is probably 4 Moves Ahead is the only other horse that has that type of wet track form. And he won that by 4 lengths. Now, he beat a horse in that race, which I did put in my notes. So, not those notes, but he beat a horse in that race that then went on to win a midweek race in Sydney the other week, and it was very impressive. So I think Stay Inside is the horse to beat. Profiteer, he's raced in 3 races. The 2 races that he's won, there's only been 1 horse come out and win after those races. So I think they're just completely the wrong form line. The other 2 horses that I'm really keen on, and I'll probably be betting around them in Quinellas and probably back them each way as well, is O President and Home Affairs as well. I think, yeah, you've been keen on Home Affairs for a while.
Yeah, I got a good price for it. I think about $30 or $34 a fair few weeks ago now. So
Yeah. He just seems to excel on a softer track, which his profile suggests. He beat Rocket Tiger, who's $70 in this race, but he did start favourite in the Black Opal. So, I think Rocket Tiger's probably the wrong price in this race, but he won't be going near my numbers. And President, impressive run of that. Again, he's proven on a heavy track as well. Bossy on board. He's actually won at 1,250 metres by 4 lengths, and he does it out in front. So I think he might actually be about a 1,400 metre horse.
Fair. Drawn perfectly.
Yeah. So I think he's probably one of the forgotten ones in the race.
Yeah, fair.
So he's one that I'm really super keen on. So I've got Stay Inside on top. I just can't get that win out of my head. Tommy Berry also rode 4 moves ahead, and he chose to ride Stay Inside over 4 moves ahead, which I found interesting. I have President into second, and I have Home Affairs running third.
Yeah, sweet. I've got 4 moves ahead on top. I've got Home Affairs running second. I think Anamo's got a bit of X factor. I think he might run into the money running in third.
Yeah, cool. Moving forward, I really like Swift Witness as a in the Sires and whatever the other one, the Champagne, whatever it is. One of the few Waterhouse horses that actually gets back in the running. But
they're usually all leaders, aren't they?
Man, she has an elite turn of foot, that horse. Holy smokes. Yeah, she really, really gets into her gears. Okay. So that's 4 out of 5, isn't it? Crikey, we're getting through them. The last one, the Galaxy. Far out. First run, 1910. And 5 of the last 11 runners have come off a last start win. But yeah, let's get into this race as well.
Mate, there is a ton of early speed in this race. A ton.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is. It's going to be a fight to see who actually gets to the front. What are your thoughts on Eduardo in this? So, pipped Nature Strip last start, broke a track record, draws really well here. I just think he's not treated super well at the weights. He's
not, but he's also an elite wet track horse. And I found him in my numbers. Looked back at his profile. He won first up last prep, and then he went 2 weeks between runs, and then he won again. I mean, he got absolutely truckloaded that day. He went into about $2.
Yeah.
I think he can win.
Yeah, I think he's a real winning chance. I do like him in this. I think he's drawn really well. I'm just wondering where he sits in the race. There's so much early speed. I think if he leads and gets heaps of pressure put on him, I think he might be vulnerable at the back end of the race, but he could absolutely blitz him. So I think he's a real chance. Look, we had a joke, but Jungle Edge, if it's a heavy 10, he'll run a race.
I'll put him in my numbers.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Like, I've snuck him into third just because I think, he's the one horse in this race that you can absolutely guarantee will run.
He'll get through it.
He'll run it. So, and he's got 54 kilos.
I know. He's treated super well at the weights. Yeah. Treated super well.
You know?
He'll get around it. I think he'll run a good race. I think one of the boys on 2 Mugs got him at futures at like $26. just praying that would rain.
Yeah.
It's gonna bloody rain.
Yeah,
so
maybe too much.
Shout out to the 2 Mugs. Wild Ruler, super impressive first up. Hasn't run on a heavy deck before. So I'm happy to risk him. He's in my numbers, but I'm happy to risk him. I'm expecting him to be quite a good horse, a good sprinter. He's by Schnitzel, and we know things by Schnitzel can get through the wet ground. Red Zell.
Yeah. Russian Revolution, maybe?
Russian Revolution, yeah.
Maybe.
So I think he'll handle the wet, but it's a watch for me because he might not. So, but there's a horse down the bottom of the card carrying 51 kegs.
Talia.
Rachel King on the back.
Elite wet track jockey.
And she's just in cracking form in general.
Who's she beaten though?
Talia. Look, she's won a few Group 3s. But yeah, you're right. She hasn't raced against the elite of the elite. However, I think she's treated super well at the weights. Like Portland Sky the other week. Who had he beaten leading up to that? Not much, but he had 50 kegs on his back and he drew well. So does Talia here. So I've got her on top. I'm expecting her to run a really good race. When I was doing the form yesterday, she was at $7 or $8. She's now $5.50. So I think other punters are sort of recognising that she can handle the wet. Yeah, I think she'll run a super race, so I've got her on top.
Yeah. No, I had her into second. I just kept Eduardo on top. Got that profile in my head that, yeah, he'll appreciate the 2 weeks. He'll appreciate the cut out of the ground. Like, he's won 2 out of 2 on soft, won 2 out of 3 on a heavy deck, and he has, for about the last 12 to 18 months, he's been racing against the absolute elite. So this is not an elite field.
It's not, no.
So I think, look, he has to do it with the weight, but Nash is in cracking form. He can give him a good steer and get him home. Talia, even though, well, look, she beat Ice Bath last start, which, is pretty decent, but that was at a distance where Ice Bath is definitely not suited.
Yeah. I think you'll get a good race out of her regardless. If you look at her start so far, 8 starts, 6 wins and 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So I think she'll get a good race.
Yeah, 100%. And then, I had the old boy Jungle Edge running into third. Special mention to Splintex. That horse absolutely thrives on wet ground with cousin Robbie Dolan on the back. So
shout out cousin Robbie.
Yeah.
I've got Talia on top. I think Eduardo will be there or thereabouts. The big danger for mine. And I think Wild Ruler will run a race. So happy to risk him, but I think he'll run third.
Beauty. Gee whiz, mate, we got it through them. So, juicy stakes time. So, let's do a quick recap. This won't be pretty.
No, it won't.
My value play was All Saints Eve, ran 6th. She got on the back of Forbidden Love, but just too dry for her. And Forbidden Love just didn't take her into the race.
Yeah. My value was Grand Piano in the last, and it ran last. But bearing in mind, I thought it'd get a wet track, and it definitely didn't. So not suited to the good.
All of these each way. Poland went out far too hard. It was too dry for him. Ran 5th. Another 3-year-old that's let me down.
Yeah. Shaylo, I had as my each way. She just got too far back. I think she would have liked to have a bit of sting out of the ground. She ran middle of the field. I can't remember where. Her last 600 was good, so I think she's a forgive horse for that race. But, certainly not an each way.
And my best was Colette. I think both of us, Colette.
Yeah.
Learned a lesson. Just too dry. And she drifted like she couldn't win either. So, and the bonus, Too Close to the Sun, ran 5th and pulled up lame. So,
we had a shocker.
Yeah. But, hey, between us, we found the winner of the All-Star Mile.
Yeah, well, we got the Quinella.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
That's fine. So, moving on to, and let's look through the windscreen, mate, not through the rear vision mirror. So,
exactly right.
Okay. Value play of the day at Rosehill. I'll kick us off. Gone to the last at Rosehill, which I feel like we both do quite often. Gone for a horse that knocked us out of the quaddie.
Oh no!
About a year ago, give or take. Number 9, Attention Run for Uncle Chris Lees. That horse has destroyed us once before at about 20 to 1, but she's $10 here. Look, her trials have been horrific, to be kind, but you look back through her profile, she just doesn't trial well at all. But I'm looking for swimmers. She is one of those, and she gets out to the 1900 meters here, which I think is an okay distance for her. It'll be testing for her first up, but she can handle it. I'm hoping, Brendan Avdella has a day out, 54 kegs on the back, drawn out. She can run the race. Yeah,
fair. That's probably a no betting race for me, to be honest. My roughie is Juniper.
Yep.
$21 at the moment. So.
I'd classify that as a roughie. Each way play of the day, head to the first, which that is a cracking race.
It is.
So I've got Prague, Doubtland, Private Eye, Isotope on the lead, Andermatt, all his winning chances. But you know what? I've risked it all, and I'm going for Rachel King in the first with Andermatt to get the chockies here. I just really like what this colt has brought to the table. Beat Volpine on a heavy 8 first up, and Volpine then has come out and won pretty impressively. Was only 1.5 lengths off Wild Ruler the start after that. Can handle the going, which not many of these can. Doubtland, I think, can, and he's my main danger, but he was, to the eye, he was very plain for mine first up, so I think Andermatt has the runs on the board this prep, so I'm happy to go with him at $8.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Not going to lie, it was hard for me I had a few each ways, and there's a lot of horses I like that are a good each way price. It was hard for me to find a best bet. But for my each way, I've got 4 moves ahead. I think at the price, $9 that I got her at, she's into 6s now. I think she'll run a really good race. 4 moves ahead.
Beauty. This is probably the least confident I've ever been in a best bet. And I can't believe I've gone this horse. I really can't. Race 6, number 11, Fun Star.
Whoa.
Yeah. I just couldn't figure out that race. And I think Epsom form, look, on a really bog track, not sure, but she's handled a heavy 8, heavy 9. Ugh.
Mate, if Juniper, my roughie, loses to your best bet of the day, Fun Star, can't be mad with that.
Nah.
But if your best bet loses to my roughie of the day, you'll be upset with that. Look, I've got Talia as my best bet, and that's with not a lot of confidence either, because I know Eduardo's a big threat in that race, but 5 Group 1s on a card, mate. If you can jag 2 or 3 winners like Derby Day, you've had a great day.
Oh, yeah.
So, Talia for my best bet of the day.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that all up's going to pay anything.
It really will.
So
maybe we'll finally jag one at odds.
I don't think so. I think another $10 is going into the kitty rather than $200. So, but yeah, mate, well done. Good hustle. 40 minutes. We've done well there.
Hey, just cracked through, haven't we?
Yeah, we've done that in record time, actually. So maybe it just goes to show that we should stop waffling on as much.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not even going to talk anymore.
No. So all the best, punters. Hopefully there is racing this weekend, but all the best. Hopefully you get the money.
Good luck.